Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Did you guys see how I gavelled this meeting to order? Pretty exciting. So let me just say thank you all so much for coming. We're on time, which I love. Many of you know I'm an Air Force brat, so I appreciated everybody coming on time. We have a couple of items that we're going to cover today. This is an organizational meeting of the Senate Finance Committee, and welcome to everyone who's here to view this meeting in person. And I know some people may view this online because this is good viewing, folks. So I am delighted to have been asked by President Ferguson to chair the Senate Finance Committee and to be joined by the dynamic, incredible, experienced Finance Committee member, Senator Kathy Klossmeyer, who's serving as Vice Chair. You all will probably notice a little difference between me and at least one of my predecessors, probably many. But I like the work of the General Assembly. I love what we do, and I don't believe work has to feel like work every day. So hopefully we'll have some fun together. I do want to acknowledge for the committee members and those in the audience that most of my legislative career has been on a budget committee. I did serve for 3 years on judiciary when I was in the House. So some of you that have come from the House are chuckling because you know that means I was tested and tried in policy. But I've also, as you know, worked with many of you on boards and commissions and work groups, and so I think I've worked with, for those of you that are returning members, I've worked with each of you on either a piece of policy, a budget item, or something that is important to us. And we do have some members who are new to the General Assembly and new to the Senate of Maryland, and so we just welcome all of you. What we're going to do is, once I finish my opening remarks, I'm going to introduce my legislative staff, invite each of you to introduce yourselves and members of your staff who are here, and feel free to name those that may not have been able to come down. And then we're going to hear from probably one of the most talented groups in Annapolis, and that is the Senate Finance staff team, and we'll hear from them, ask them to introduce themselves, and then we'll go through some of the organizational items following that. For the members of the committee, each of you brings with you subject matter expertise and a background. Some of you bring specific expertise to the areas that we have jurisdiction over. So I'm going to lean on you and hope that you will work with me and the committee to bring your expertise to the table so that we can pass some impactful policy on behalf of the citizens of Maryland. And basically just wanted to acknowledge that I am not my predecessors, so there will likely be some changes in the way that we operate. And I'm kind of silly, so like I mentioned, I like to laugh every now and then, but I do take the work that we do very seriously. And because of that, I hope that each of you know I will have an open door policy. And so if you need to meet with me, want to meet with me to talk about a piece of legislation that's important to you, something that you're working on, something that we've heard in committee that you have concerns about or you think you can make better, please do that. As I mentioned, this work is very serious to me, and so one thing I do not love is gotchas and surprises. So I just invite you to communicate, and the more you work with me, I'll be able to work with you. I'm an old Jerry Maguire fan, so help me help you. Fair enough? So with that, as I mentioned, I represent the 25th district. I don't know if I said this. I represent the 25th district in Prince George's County, which is basically the central and southern part of the county. I have with me today two of my staff members, so I'm going to ask them to stand because they would love to, I'm sure. Letitia Beal, who is my chief of staff. She previously, for those of you that have been here, she previously worked with Senator Verna Jones, and she came to me from the state prosecutor's office. So that's her. For those of you that want meetings or appointments on the calendar, that's who you see. She'll also be coordinating if there are any committee evening gatherings. She'll be working on that. So that's Ms. Beal. Thank you. Karen White, who is my legislative assistant. She has a tech background, but she came, and this is her second session in the General Assembly, and she will, in addition to other things, she will be managing a snack tax for us, and what that means is she's gonna, I know, my first act of business is to put forth a tax, but Karen is going to make sure that we have some things to sustain us when the hearings get longer, so she'll be seeing each of you and asking for a contribution to the fund, and there are some things back there for you today, courtesy of our office. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to who next? You? Oh, no, let me have the vice chair introduce her staff, and we'll go through the members, and then we'll go through you. Vice Chair,
Okay.
the floor is yours.
The floor is mine. Would my staff please stand and introduce yourselves?
I'm Jennifer Staley, I'm Senator Qualified Chief of Staff.
Sam Deschanel, I've probably seen you around for a while. Legislative director.
And that is Rachel, and I did ask her a couple questions today. She does have a dog, and his name is? But she is at University of Maryland, and she's been very eager to learn and to do whatever we ask her to do. So thank you very much. And I will pass the mic on to Senator Kramer. Thank you.
All righty then. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to my committee colleagues. Ben Kramer, good to be back on Finance Committee, and good to be here with my new committee chair, and very much looking forward to a great working relationship, a great session, and doing some great work for the people of the state of Maryland. And I'm glad that the chair brought up the snack tax, because I was going to go there, because colleagues, in the past, our snacks were paid for by Tammy here, Tammy Kraft, and so I was going to say, okay, from now on, everybody's got to chip in, because bless Tammy's heart, she took care of her committee. So thank you for having done that in the past, by the way. I've got my Chief of Staff, Monica Milholland, who is here. Monica, where are you? There you are. You look like you're 100 miles away. I'm not sure I'm real happy being all the way up here, but I think that was done so that I'm in kicking distance. When the chair looks at Tammy, I'm going to get a kick in the shin. But Monica is a veteran of the legislature. She was the staff to the Constitutional Law Committee in the House of Delegates that Johnny Wood chaired back in the day. So Monica is a veteran. She is a great asset to my office, so I am blessed to have her. And also, I've got Tammy Shea, and she is my Director of Legislative and Constituent Services, and she too is a veteran of the legislature, and I took her from former Delegate Herb McMillan when he left the House. So I got two great people working very hard to make me look smart. So thank you for that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of Senate Finance. In the audience, Senator Antonio Hayes from the 40th Legislative District in Baltimore City. In the audience, I have Danielle Ziegler. Danielle, you stand up for everybody? All right, Danielle is a graduate of Boise State University. I was able to get her to come to our office. She was what we call around here one of the Senate spies. She was assigned to the EHE committee at the time, and now she's working with us, and she formerly worked with Senator Benson. And then we have Erica Jackson Stokes. Erica in our office keeps the schedule and all of our correspondence and stuff, and making sure I'm in the right place at the right time. Been an awesome contribution to our team. And then we have a couple of interns for this session. We have Derek Whiting. Derek Derek is a student from the University of Baltimore who's with us this legislative session. And did Kelly and I make it? Kelly, yes. So Kelly is here. Kelly is part of a program at Johns Hopkins. Every year, we have students that come from Hopkins as a part of their Public Policy Institute. And Kelly is in her first year pursuing her master's degree there at Hopkins. And then last but not least, we have Adam from University of Maryland College Park, who's a dual degree major in both government and criminology that's working with us this legislative session.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Justin Reedy, representing the 5th Legislative District, which is a large portion of Carroll County and also a little piece of southeastern Frederick County, the town of Mount Airy that goes into Frederick County. So very excited to, again, be on the Senate Finance Committee. Feeling a lot of guilt knowing that it was Tammy that paid for those snacks. So I came in the pandemic year, so there weren't any snacks. And then the next year there were snacks, and I didn't ask any questions. So my apologies. So I'll happily pay the snack tax. But I want to introduce my staff that's here with me today. If they'll stand, make you stand like everybody else had to. I have Meg Butler, who's been with me now. This will be her 8th session with me, which I think should qualify her for like a 40-year pension. And she's done a great job as my chief of staff, and she lives on Gibson Island, by the way. And her husband, if you want to go duck hunting, you want to talk to Meg. Her husband knows all the best spots. And I have Sam Jones with me as the legislative person in my office. Was the RPT, and now that's changed a little bit. But Sam Jones is here. And we also are going to have an intern who's not here today named Matthew Bollinger, who's from the University of Towson, or from Towson University. So we look forward to working with all of you. And if I can be of assistance or our team can, we definitely want to be, we're definitely available to you. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Vice Chair and committee members, staff. It's good to be here. I'm Senator Arthur Ellis from District 28, Charles County. My district covers 90% of Charles County. And previously, I served on the former EHE committee, now Triple E. I think I'm saying that right. And it's a pleasure to be transferred to finance. I just want to say that this is my second term here in the Senate of Maryland. And my very first year, I was blessed to be seatmates with our chair. And so it's good to reconnect. And I look forward to being really close to you because you really took good care of me with all your experience. But being so far away, I have other babysitters here, my staff close to me. So please stand up and introduce yourselves, ladies.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Amani Beecham. I am a recent graduate from Towson University with my degree in sociology and anthropology with a criminal justice concentration, and I'm currently serving as Senator Ellis's legislative director.
Hard to follow up with that. My name is Gabrielle Brown. This is my first session. I'm a legislative aide. I went to Salisbury University, and I got my degree in public relations and journalism with a minor in sociology. And I'm really excited to be here and learn from everyone. It's nice to meet everyone.
Okay. Thank you.
Am I live? Okay. Good afternoon. It's great. It's an incredible honor to be here with everybody. My name's Johnny Mounts, Senator for District 37. That's Talbot, Caroline, and Dorchester. Talbot, Caroline, Dorchester, and Wacomico County in the Middle Shore. This is my first term in serving in the Senate, and it's an incredible experience. I had the honor of serving in the Economic Matters Committee with Chairman Davis and Chairman Wilson in the past 2 terms. For our office, we have transitioned the staff from Senator Ed Riley's office. So if anybody worked with Senator Riley's office in the past, that's how Senator Mounts' office is going to operate moving forward. And if you knew Senator Riley, I'm sure you knew our staff. And Carrie, could you stand up? Carrie Duffy Doyle is our chief of staff, and she'll be running the office. Carrie, is there anything you'd like to share for the committee?
No,
to on Monday. Excuse me, her name is Olivia Scuderi.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Thank you, Karen. I just slipped. I just said delegate. You heard that, I'm sure. It won't happen again, so. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dawn Guile, Senator from District 33 in Central Anne Arundel County. Very delighted to be serving on the Finance Committee, especially with my Madam Chair and Madam Vice Chair. A little bit of background about me. So I'm new to the General Assembly, new to the Senate, obviously. I'm a lawyer and a longtime advocate for veterans and military families. Wanted to introduce my staff, my Chief of Staff. You can go ahead and stand up. Thank you. My Chief of Staff, Allison O'Brien, longtime veteran of the Senate. Allison, if you wanted to go ahead and say a few words, and then also you can introduce Spencer Dixon, who's in my staff as well.
Spencer's going to be our legislative director. I've been here for about 5 years. I started with Senator Doug Peters, who was the chair of the capital budget on B&T, and then was with Senator Ron Watson on JPR, and we're very excited to work with Senator Guile in District 33.
And Spencer,
Yeah, my name is Spencer Dixon. I'll be the legislative director for Senator Guile. I'm from District 33 from Severna Park. Spent most of my career in DC doing national nonprofit and advocacy work, and really excited to be back in Maryland working for my home district.
and we also have an intern, Emily Uzio, correct, from Washington College. So she'll be joining us next week. So, thank you.
All right, good morning, or good afternoon, rather. So I'm Clarence Lamb, the senator in District 12, which used to include parts of Howard County and Baltimore County, but with the new lines, I now represent parts of Howard County and Anne Arundel County. So it's a real pleasure to be here with a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces as well. And I spent a lot of time over here because a lot of health-related issues also came through this committee. Really pleased to have all of the health portfolio consolidated here, so looking forward to being an active member of this committee as well. I served 3 terms in the General Assembly, 2 in this is my second term, starting my second term in the Senate. I had an initial term in the Senate for the last 4 years, and then previously for 4 years in the House. Before this, I served on the Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee, just down the hallway and down the stairs. And for my team, although I have a team that's bigger than Senator Hayes' team, they're all at lunch right now. And so the only person that I have is my Chief of Staff here, who is probably a familiar face with folks. He is Scott Tiffin. He was originally my Chief of Staff when I got here to the Senate, took a brief hiatus to work for Public Policy Partners before coming back now as my current Chief of Staff. So with that, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it's really delighted to be back in finance and to work with our new chair and vice chair. I'm really looking forward to our work. I'm Pam Beidel. I represent District 32, Anne Arundel County, just a little west of my senator to my right here. Includes the airport, which we'll hear a lot about, and NSA in Fort Meade. I do have, I served 3 terms in the House, and this is my second term here in the Senate, and I love being on finance. Happy to come back. I have with me my Chief of Staff, Nancy Crawford, who's been with me 16 years, who came from Senator Gimeno's office, and then prior to that, she was Director of Elections for Anne Arundel County. And I also have my legislative assistant, Ashlyn Randolph, a brand-new graduate from UMBC, and she's brand new to the office. And starting today, my intern, Zoe Nichols from Severna Park High School, who finally found her office. It was a challenging morning with the trolley, but we're all here, so thank you, staff, very much for being here.
Again, thank you, Madam Chair, and again, on behalf of our caucus, we welcome you and the new Vice Chair and the 4 other new members to this committee. My name is Steve Hershey. I am from District 36, which we call the Upper Eastern Shore, which includes Cecil County, Kent County, Caroline County, and Queen Anne's County. This is my 9th year in Senate Finance, and Madam Chair, if you keep this sequence up, I'd be happy to cast the 6th and deciding vote for anything you'd like to kill in here. But if that's not the case, I'll cast the 3rd vote for many different items. So, but anyways, with me today is my Chief of Staff, Erica Howard, who has been with me for all 12 years. that I've been in the General Assembly, and I couldn't be more happy to work in partnership with her over all of those years and continuing forward. And also, we have someone new in our office, Ann Stewart, that is, again, just joining us and looking forward to learning what goes on here in Annapolis, and I'm sure she will be a big assistance to our office as well, too. So thank you.
Well, thank you all. Did anyone have anything to add or anyone they forgot? Because we know you have to go back to your offices and we don't want anybody getting in trouble. All right, okay. Seeing no additions, we're going to hear from this dynamic Senate finance staff. So who's going to get us started?
I'll start.
Thank you.
My name is David Smolsky. I've been staffing the Senate Finance Committee probably before some of the interns were born. And I was curious about it. I see that Bruce is sitting out there, and I thought maybe one of you hired him and he went for a career change. So I've been staffing the committee again for a while, and I have you'll see in the packet what the issue areas we all deal with. So I'll turn it over to I guess Patrick.
Hi, I'm Patrick Carlson. I'm one of the committee staffers here. This will be my 11th session with the Senate Finance Committee. So it's a real privilege to be here, and I look forward to working with you all and helping you with whatever you need.
Hi, my name is Nathan McCurdy, and this is my 9th legislative session, but my 4th staffing the Finance Committee.
Got it, Tammy?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kraft. I started out in the Maryland General Assembly with Senator George Della, who was on the Finance Committee. And I have been on the Finance Committee for the last 12 years as the committee manager. And I also work with 3 90-day staff who come in for session. Kim Hicks, she was with Senator Kelly last year, so she's joining us this year as the receptionist. I have Lucy Etzel, who worked for Senator Astle. She's returning again. And Mickey Geisler, who was with us last year. They both actually had appointments today. They're out, but they will be returning tomorrow.
Thank you. In addition, we have 2 other folks that are going to be with us on a daily basis that we want to introduce. And so let's turn to my right. Thank you all, and it's good to see both of you and all of you. Just for those of you, if we have any unruly moments, I've already had a conversation with Trooper Johnson. She's ready. She's ready, okay. All right, so we are going to go through some committee logistics and information in the packets. It would probably be helpful for the staff to hear this part because it's going to be details about how we handle bill hearings and testimony and things like that. If somebody does have to leave, we certainly understand, but we're going to proceed with the packets that you have in front of you. David? Okay.
Okay, we'll start. First, everybody should have this packet. It's something a lot of you have seen before. It's been around for several years, but we've simplified it a lot. First off, in front of you, you also have a list of the committee jurisdiction. This would be helpful, I think, for the new folks on the committee. And you'll see that's the green sheet. It's all the areas that this committee gets. It's obviously slightly changed a little bit. We've added alcoholic beverages, we've added health occupations, and there's nothing in here about energy anymore. The next handout in front of you is the committee lists us by our assignments and what areas we have. So if you have any questions, you can use this as a guide to come to us, and if you get it wrong, we'll tell you who to go to. And the next handout in front of is the committee early session briefing schedule. So you'll see, you can get these in your calendars right now. Some of these are already in the hearing schedule, and these are the items we'll be hearing from before we get the bill hearings, which should start the first week of February or the last week of January. First week of February.
Any questions so far? And I should just say to the members, don't be shy if you have any questions. I'm probably going to be blurting in throughout the presentation, so if you have any questions, just indicate, turn on your mic.
Before I turn it over to Tammy for the stuff that's really going to be interested to view because of the, how to get witness lists. And the committee will again be meeting mostly Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The Fridays will come up maybe as the session progresses and things get to that point where we just have too many bills, there's too many things to do. Also, we do have alcohol bills this year. We're going to try, those of you who come from the old EHE know how that works. We're going to try to do the same thing as EHE. The bills will be heard around President's Day. I thought there was more coordination with the House, but apparently there's not as much as I thought. So they pick their day, and then, you're going to pick your day, and they'll probably be several days apart for the alcohol bill hearings. But again, it'll probably be around President's Day in that period of time. Tammy?
So I'm going to briefly go over the document that you have that's on the yellow paper. These are the witness committee guidelines. And as Dave said, we hear bills and hearing briefings on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 1. All hearings and briefings will be live streamed and posted in the MGA hearing schedule. On Mondays, I will email the committee the schedule for the week, which will include the hearing agendas for each bill hearing day. Just a reminder, they're sent out on Monday and things can change during the week. So the hearing schedule online is the most up-to-date and accurate information. So if you're ever in question about what is going on, what is happening, what time something is, please check the hearing schedule. The order of the bills will be posted in the hearing schedule by noon the day of the hearing, and then the chair will also announce the bill order at the beginning of our bill hearings. So the new part of this year for the bill hearings is they are in person and you can provide virtual testimony. It is strongly encouraged to provide in-person testimony, but there will be the option that you can sign up for virtual testimony. There will be a limit as to the number of people that will be able to testify virtually. That number's 14. The witnesses, again, will have to sign up using my MGA account on the website, and they've been doing that for the last 2 years. The sign-up period will be open 1 business day in advance of the bill hearing, and it'll be open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The remaining instructions on this yellow form go into great detail about the Zoom procedures. So I think most of it is pretty self-explanatory, and I'm happy to meet with the individual offices and your staff to go over any questions they may have or go into greater detail about these instructions. So I'm going to move on.
Before you move on, does anybody have any immediate questions about the yellow packet? Okay.
So the next section is about the microphones. So the microphones are set up with a request to speak. So if you have a question or a comment and you would like to speak, push the button on your mic. The red light will flash. When the chair acknowledges you, then I will turn your mic on. You do then have the ability to turn your mic off. If you have forgotten to turn your mic off, then I can turn your mic off. But it is a request to speak. Just a reminder, whenever a mic is on, we are live. So just be aware of that. And with the new hybrid, as you see on the pod will always be on, and we will see who is speaking, whose speaker is on. And then the next section goes to the cell phones, and we just ask that everybody silence their cell phones during the hearings. And then attendance at 1 p.m. It is greatly appreciated if everybody is here and on time so that we can start promptly at 1. And I'm going to
Yeah, I just want to blurt in and reinforce both of those last two bullets. One, the cell phones. It is, first of all, in this building, the reception is not always great in this committee room, as I'm learning anyway. But we want to use our cell phones during the hearings as little as possible, because ultimately, when people come here and we're encouraging people to testify in person, they're really coming to give their 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever amount of time based on the day and the bills that we offer them. But I had the opportunity to speak with some of the freshman members, and I shared with them, having been here now for 20 years, I have seen people come and they are very nervous when they testify before our committees. And for some of them, this is a opportunity of a lifetime to have an audience with the Senate of Maryland. And so both on the cell phones and the attendance, we want to have as many of us here giving them our full attention. We do have laptops for the members of the public. We have laptops where we're able to do additional research on the bills that we're hearing and to read the testimony online. So sometimes we will be focused on our laptop screens, but we are attending to the witnesses that have come to share their testimony with the committee. So we're all going to try to not use our cell phones unless we absolutely have to, and to be attentive to the audience that we have. And this is going to be hard for me too, because I'm kind of attached to this, but we're going to try to give the folks that have traveled here from near and far our attention when they come before the committee. Thanks.
Oh, okay. Okay, back to me. Further on in the handout, we do have a little blurb here about withdrawn bills. This is a process that you'll follow if you decide that you don't want your bill to proceed anymore. And we don't have it under here as a bullet point, but withdrawn bill is not necessarily a bad thing. Further on, I did have a question about the pod, but I guess Tammy answered that, and I guess progress is progress, that it's always going to be on. Okay, let's go down to voting. We used to have maybe 10 pages of voting procedures here, and we've vastly simplified that. So we'll begin here with that. And again, before we even go on, anytime any of you have a question or want more information about a bill, certainly come up to ask Patrick, Nathan, or I, and we'll be able to help you out or point you in the right direction on where to go to get more information. So first off, every person on the committee is entitled to offer amendments to a bill. Our preference is if you want to bring a bill to a bill hearing or with your own bill or to have it ready for voting and you want to finalize the amendment, you should go to the amendment office for that, because we won't necessarily do finalized amendments. We are able to draft amendments, but if you want to bring a finalized amendment to voting or to a bill hearing, you should go through the amendment office. Each amendment, and here, these are just highlights. Each amendment must have a Senate sponsor. Amendment just can't pop up without one of you willing to put your name on it. We will prepare reprints for voting sessions to the extent we can. Most of the time, we will have reprints, which is a copy of the bill with the amendment included, so you can see how it works in there. If it's a little one-word amendment, sometimes we won't do that. We'll just put the amendment out there, especially if it's technical. But generally speaking, you'll have a reprint in front of you for voting sessions. We have a little more detail here on the voting list and the timing of voting. You'll be provided a list of the bills in advance. Voting will generally will occur on Thursdays after bill hearings and possibly Friday mornings. We'll see how that works and what your delegations are like. But there may be an hour of voting Friday mornings before you go to the floor. Generally, an initial request for a bill will be a bill to be held will be granted. Obviously, all of this is up to the chair's discretion. Subsequent requests for the same bill to be held will not be allowed. Again, this will be subject to the chair's discretion. All held bills will be taken up at the next voting session. Final voting tallies are posted on the General Assembly's website. Individual amendment votes are not posted online. There's no requirement that we do that. Regarding amendments to bills during voting, Nathan, Patrick, and I will describe bills. And it's up to either we will describe an amendment to a bill, or if the sponsor of the amendment would like to describe their amendment, we would encourage that. If other members have amendments that have not yet been provided to the chair, then they would be fully responsible for describing that amendment to the committee. And as a courtesy, the chair would like all amendments prior to voting. They'll be offered by the members of the committee. On the next page, you'll see voting sessions. As in the past, voting sessions are open to the public, and public participation is limited, subject to the chair's discretion. So the chair, only the chair could recognize somebody if somebody wants to recognize somebody in the audience to comment on a bill. We have a whole blurb here about when a member is not present, when a bill is voted. If you want to go through that, if you have any questions, this is the same we've had before. If you're in another committee for whatever reason, and your vote will not change the outcome of the bill, then you'll be allowed to vote on that bill. Next, and this is in bold, this is a little different for this committee as opposed to what happened over the past couple of years. All motions on a bill will be made at the request of the chair. In other words, the chair will generally first request a favorable motion on a bill, and then the discussion will proceed after that. A motion to vote favorable, unfavorable, or favorable with a member requires a quorum of the committee. So there's an 11-member committee, so you need 6 votes to get a bill out of the committee. That's generally how it's thought. Cross-filed bills that come over from the opposite chamber will generally have the same vote as on the Senate bill. There will be no changing of a vote after a voting session, and of course, all recorded votes will be voice votes. We have one blurb here on the reconsideration of votes. Obviously, a bill can be reconsidered. It'll follow the same process generally as on the floor, which is that the presiding side has to make a motion. But a vote may only be reconsidered if the committee has not reported the bill to the floor. Once that report has occurred, then you can't reconsider a vote, or if it hasn't been reported at all. So sometimes it takes a couple days for us to report it, so we'll see how that works. Presenting bills on the floor, the chair will either present the bill or will designate somebody on the committee to take a bill to the floor. Of course, we will be there to help you discuss the bill on the floor, defend the bill on the floor, depending on what the subject is. We have a phone here. We have real-time access to the debate on the floor. We don't have to use the box. We don't have to use the computers like everybody else. Our squawk boxes still work, so I think that's an advantage for this committee. And there's also several words here about the committee folders. If Tammy wants to talk about this, this is Tammy's responsibility. The folders are very important that they stay where they are. If you have any questions, you can ask Tammy, or if she wants to say more about that.
Sure. I will bring the folders over to the floor and put them on your desk. So if you are the floor leader, the bill file will be on your desk. When you finish on the floor, please put the folder inside your desk. Don't bring it back. Don't leave it on top. They've been left, and then sometimes they clean up, and it all ended up in a recycling bin once, everything that was on top of the desk. So just ask that you put it inside your desk, and that I will be over and I will manage the files from the floor.
As in the past, if we go further down, there will be ad hoc work groups established on certain pieces of legislation. These will be appointed by the chair. And again, it's up to the chair whether certain bills will have special attention given by certain members of the committee. You can see that process detailed at the bottom of page 3. Occasionally, there are jointly assigned bills. We hope there are not as many as there has been in the past, but in this case, there's a primary and a secondary committee. If we're the secondary committee, the chair will designate somebody from this committee to attend the hearing over there, and that senator will be responsible for reporting what happened if that bill comes up for a vote and comes over here for the second committee consideration. And then there's language here about media and other cameras. No cameras, including cell phone and tablet cameras, are permitted beyond the witness table. So we have a screen right there, and there's a barrier over there, so there'll be no cameras permitted except for credentialed media, and that, again, that still has to be approved by the chair. Members and staff must get approval from the chair to take pictures from the area beyond the witness table. So if a member wants to take a picture of some of their witnesses, that would be fine. The idea is nobody standing behind the senators taking pictures of folks at the witness table or in the audience, or members of the committee for that matter. And again, Patrick, Nathan, and I are around if you have any questions about subject area, bills, et cetera, and welcome to the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much, Tammy, David, and team. Are there any questions about the information that we've just had presented? Okay, seeing none, that is actually all that we needed to share today, except for to say that you have, don't forget to take the page that has the upcoming early session briefing schedule. Basically, I'm sorry? You're like, woo-hoo, okay, I love that. I love that. Basically, what I'll say to the committee is, this session is kind of unique in that the bills are coming out not as early as we may be used to, and so we're going to take advantage of that opportunity to bring information about the subject matters that are either new to the committee or that we think it would be helpful for us to have a review or a baseline of information on. But we do think it's helpful for everyone to be here so that when we consider bills on those subject matter, we all have a baseline, the same baseline of information. I just want to thank each of you for being so receptive to me and being so gracious to me in my new role, and I'm just looking forward to working with each of you. So excited to have this vice chair who's got a lot of experience on the committee, and for those of you that are really familiar with the subject matter, don't hesitate. I'm not insulted if you bring me some information that you think I might not have. And again, everyone here brings expertise from their own backgrounds and their work in community and other professions. So let's communicate with each other and let's get to work. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.